Oh, so far only Alan and Jennifer could see me, hear me, see the slides. Oh, that's bad. How about the rest? Pei Pei, good afternoon. Thank you very much. Okay, so at least three of you can see me, hear me, see the slides. So, okay lah, let's get started lah. I think three feedback is good enough to. Okay, thank you, Alan. You can see and hear also. Okay, that's good. Let's get started. Thank you. Good afternoon, Fiona. Okay, good. So let's get started. Up to yesterday, we covered up to level 5. I'm in the attack mode. We covered total yesterday. We covered 9. 3 from level 4 and then 6 from level 5. Today, the last lesson, we're going to cover the last 6 stratagem, which belongs to level 6. I'm in a superior position. So which are the 6 that we're going to cover today? Is stratagem 1, deceive heaven to cross the sea, 瞒天过海. Stratagem 2, beseech Wei to rescue Zhao, 围魏救赵. Stratagem 3, kill with a borrowed knife. Chinese is called 借刀杀人. Stratagem 4, conserve energy while enemy exhausts his 以逸待劳. Stratagem 5, loot a burning house. In Chinese called 趁火打劫. And the last stratagem for today is making a feint to the east by hitting out in the west. In Chinese called 声东击西. So we're going to cover these last 6. And with this last 6, we cover all the 36 stratagems for the AOM3. I think 36 is a good number to be used as a container. I mean, when you need to think about a stratagem, I think this 36 is good enough for you to at least kickstart to plan out what's your next best move. Pepe said the stratagems for the hexagram, is it as long as the stratagem is mentioned for the hex, the bonus tips, that hexagram can be used for the stratagem or not to be fixated? Not to be fixated. Why I put it in as a bonus tips is because from my experience, I've used it before. It works well. And also from my experience, seeing someone else use the hexagram relating wrong. Use that specific stratagem inspired by the hexagram. Okay, so that's why comfortably I take it that I'm confident that when you see this hexagram and you think a bit through about that related stratagem, it could give you some indication on how you should move. All right, so don't be fixated. Like I say, all these things are all inspired, right? So it's just like a eureka moment. Suddenly say, oh, we probably can use this stratagem by looking at this hexagram, right? So the short answer is not to be fixated. Is that okay, Pepe? I like this kind of questions because it shows that you are trying to use it. So as long as you try, you find that you will face with question marks, a lot of question marks, right? So that's where you need to raise up your question marks. Yeah. Okay, good. So we're going to cover this last 6 today. And let's get started with this last module, module 10. L6, I'm in a superior position. So when do we look at this group of 6 stratagems? It is when you consider yourself relatively stronger or relatively superior to the other party. All right. So if you are, then you can consider this line number 6 or Kang Long position in terms of these 6 stratagems. And your intention is to attack and destroy because you feel that you are super strong. Line 6 Kang Long, you think you're super strong. You have everything that you can at your disposal to go all out to attack and to destroy. But again, I've mentioned in lesson 1, we are not using these tools as a killing machine, right? We are not out to go and destroy someone, but we are all out to use this tool to go for a win-win situation whereby I have benefits, the other party also may have some kind of benefits as well, so it works for a win-win situation. Okay, so with that in mind, let's move on to the first one, stratagem 1, deceive heaven to cross the sea. Chinese call 瞒天过海. So the verse says, loosely translated in English, it says normality slackens vigilance. Right? So propaganda hidden behind the normality. So there are two steps there. Number one, if you have noticed, it says here normality. That means if we want to use this stratagem, we must first ensure that is a normality. That means people are seeing the same thing day in, day out until they feel that there's nothing wrong with what they are seeing, right? Because ultimately, stratagems are all about perceptions, misguided perceptions. Some of it are misguided perceptions, some are playing with psychology, right? So normality in terms of psychology, if you see something day in, day out, you find that there's nothing wrong with what you're seeing, then it slackens your vigilance, right? So if it slackens your vigilance, then this part here become the ink, the soft spot. And this is where we want to attack the soft spot to bring on the propaganda. So the propaganda is hidden behind or beneath the normality. So this is the whole meaning of 瞒天过海. Now 太阴, 太阳 here, right? So if you look at all the hexagram there, is there any hexagram that exhibit 太阴, 太阳? Is there? What do you think? Give your best answer. What do you think? In terms of all the 64 hexagram, which hexagram do you think exhibit this 太阴, 太阳? Can you think of any? Anything come to your mind? If not, then let me show you. Right? 天地痞. Okay, 天地痞. This 坤卦 is 太阴, this 乾卦 is 太阳. Right? So if you put them together, 天地痞. So on the other hand, if you look at this 天地痞 and relate it back to this extreme normalcy breeds change, basically means 乾卦. Okay, this 乾卦, this 太阳 is the normalcy. Okay, is the normalcy. 坤卦 is the hidden agenda. Right, hidden agenda. So therefore, we let people see the surface, which is the normalcy thing that people always see day in, day out. So that will slacken their vigilance. And beneath that normalcy is where you hide the hidden agenda, which is 坤卦. Hidden 坤卦. Then again, based on my experience, some past case studies, when I see a 离卦, okay, when I see a 离卦, or when I see a what do you call that, 活水未济, right, 活水未济, I also got inspired to come out with a 瞒天过海. Why do I say that? For example, 离卦means brightness. Yeah, brightness. Okay, so this 离卦 you compress is into 离卦 also. So on the outside, it's the yang, is the yang. Yang means the normalcy part, the brightness part, people can see part. But in between is where I hide my hidden agenda, which is the yin line. Okay, so I sandwich the hidden agenda with two yang line. So when you see a 离卦, you can also think about, consider 瞒天过海. Okay, next, 活水未济, same thing. 离卦 means brightness. Brightness means you are okay for everyone to see. So that means 光明正大啦. Okay, 光明正大. But beneath the 光明正大 is where the 坎卦. 坎卦 means the darkness. The dark agenda is, or the hidden agenda is, or the unseen, untold agenda is. Okay, so when you see 离卦, hexagram 30, and 活水未济 64, you can consider 瞒天过海. Can you think of any examples that you have seen, real case studies that people use 瞒天过海, or you have used before, the most recent incidents? Do you have? Type in the chat box. So if not, then I share with you what I know. Fake submission, fake submissive. Okay, fake submissive is also one example of 瞒天过海, meaning when people ask you to do certain things, you say, okay, I will do it. Fake submissive lah. But that's a normalcy. So people expect you to say okay. But when you say okay, underneath that, okay, you are actually carrying out your hidden agenda. You get my point? So fake submissive is one example of 瞒天过海. So if you can relate to any examples, feel free to type in the chat box. For example, fake submissive or fake reality, right? Fake reality. So for example, any good example of fake reality? 假象 in Chinese call is 假象. Okay, what you see is not what it is the actual thing is. Okay, so it's called fake reality. So for example, uh, reality TV show that you see, okay, although it looks real, but actually it may not be. All right, so all these are fake reality. Another example is misdirection. Illusionist, magician love to use misdirection. Okay, especially those illusionists playing cards, playing tricks with cards. They love to use misdirection. Okay, scammers also like to use misdirection. Where else? 老千 means scammers also lah. Okay, they like to use misdirection. I mean, they like to use 瞒天过海. Okay, next. Paul say, probably any business negotiation, there's always some hidden agenda beneath all agreement. That's right. That's right. So it's very rare to see both party playing all the cards out. So I'm sure they will keep some of the cards that mean hidden agenda, which I agree with you, Paul. Very good. So on the table, negotiation table, you may bring out things that is the 离卦. Okay, bring out things that is 离卦. That means 光明正大 right? But why are you doing this thing is because of certain hidden agenda which you may not want to tell the other party or why you do what you do. Okay, so very good. Another one, 瞒天过海 could be this one. The most dangerous place is the safest. Okay, it's the safest. In Chinese, it's called 灯下黑. Have you heard about this Chinese phrase called 灯下黑? Yes? Yes, no? Right? So basically, 灯下黑, actually that 黑 part is the safest part because it's a blind spot. Let me put it to you, it is a blind spot. 灯下黑. Let me give a pictorial example of 灯下黑. Can you see we have a lamp here? Wrong, not a lamp, a candle here, a lighted up candle. By right, the candle should bring brightness. Should bring brightness. 离卦. But can you see the immediately behind, below the lighted candle is where the darkness is? Is where the darkness is. So this is a 灯下黑. Okay, so usually this is what they say lah. The most dangerous place could be the most safest place on earth. So this is the meaning of 灯下黑. So this is where you can, if you're off the radar, you are, in the blind spot of the other person, you can do what you want to do because it's in their blind spot, right? This is what spies do very well. Yeah. So let me give you some business examples. Ajinomoto. Anybody using Ajinomoto nowadays? I don't think so lah. I'm not sure. Okay, I'm not sure, but I didn't use. So Ajinomoto was a very old brand, if you know. Way back in 1962. Let me read out this article. 1962, Ajinomoto cooking bottle was launched. So the bottle that you see on the right side. The inside lid of the bottle had 34 holes, 2.8 mm each in diameter. Wow, so precise. Designed to deliver 0.4 gram with 3 shakes. That means if you take it out, 1, 2, 3, 3 shakes, right? It should give you a 0.4 gram of the Ajinomoto seasoning. So this measurement was based on the amount required to make 2 cups of, what is that? Suma Shijiru. I'm not sure what is Suma Shijiru. As there was a need to prevent the clogging of the hole that was caused by moisture when sprinkling Ajinomoto, the size of the hole was expanded and the number of holes were increased compared to the previous bottle. Now, this is the, what do you call that? This part here, the second part here, is actually the diplomatic reason why they expanded the hole. Okay, this is a diplomatic official reason why they want to expand the hole. They say that they expand the hole because what do you call that? There's a need to prevent clogging of the hole that was caused by moisture. Now, let me ask you this question. Okay, what do you think is the hidden agenda behind this move of expanding the hole? Think through, and then type in the chat box. I put there 4 questions. Okay, so you may want to use that question to guide you to come up with your best answer. Then type in the chat box. So Alan say pour more. So what about pour more? What with the pour more? How has pour more benefited Ajinomoto? Pepe say use faster finish customer, faster buy next one, increase sales for company. Very good, very good. So I think Alan, you're also pointing to that direction so that finish faster, so that customer will have to go and buy some more faster also, right? So you're correct. Thank you, Alan. Thank you, Pepe, for your answers. Indeed, it's so. I believe that the hidden agenda why they want to expand the whole, make it bigger, is for this reason. But officially, they have to come up with some diplomatic answers. So the answers is to prevent clogging. Okay, so when they do that, is actually using 瞒天过海. Disease, there's a normality there. There's a hole. The hole is not that big. So what's the difference between 2.88 mm, 2.8 mm hole and probably maybe a 3 mm hole? What's the difference? Something like that. Also, this is the C to cross, and then the propaganda, the ink agenda is to increase sales. Simple solution to increase revenue straight away. I mean, pretty smart, pretty smart. I don't think any customer complain why the hole so big. Okay, another example. This is on a personal level. I'm not sure how many of you have seen this article before many years back. This women, okay, lays, if I'm not wrong, her husband lays his drinks with ice drops for 3 days, okay, before the poison eventually caused his death. Wow, interesting. Okay, so the normality, okay, the normality is that the wife give drinks to husband on a daily basis. I think so lah. Okay, if suddenly for no reason, if the wife has not given or prepare any drink for the husband, and then one fine day for 3 days the wife did that, it become exceptions. It is no longer a normality. Then the husband may 起疑心. You get my point? So if let's say this is a daily affair or a regular affair, may not be a daily, but a regular affair, it became a normality. And if the wife intention is to poison the husband by giving him slow poison, then it make a lot of sense to drop some substance into his drinks for 3 days or maybe more, so that the slow poison can take effect slowly and unnoticeably. Okay, so in that case, this is another case on a personal level, 瞒天过海. All right, so when you look at Facebook, you look at article story like this, you can try straight away relate it back to this AOM3 and say, oh, this lady is using 36计 瞒天过海. Whether the lady knows the stratagem or not doesn't matter, secondary. But for us, for practitioner, it's good that we are able to identify and relate this action to a stratagem, for learning purposes. And also next time it's easier to see through ploy. Especially, for example, this wife has never done this regularly, and then suddenly for 3 days pass drinks to the husband. Then if you are the husband or the wife, vice versa, then you should take note. Something must be wrong. Okay. So if you can think of any other examples, like I say, share with the class. Next. Is Facebook listening to me? Why those ads appear after you talk about things? What do you think? Type in the chat box. What do you think about this question? Is Facebook listening to me? Why those ads appear after you talk about things? You know, you may have noticed that you may just maybe do a quick search about certain things, Google or wherever, or you talk, and then suddenly your Facebook feeds keep on appearing the items that you're actually looking for automatically, as though Facebook knows what you want, what you're searching for, and then show in front of you. Pepe say data analytics running behind. Very good. Okay. So you see, this is again 瞒天过海. There are data analytics running behind. There's a due process running behind for people who do not know what's happening. They will not know. Okay, but it become like so 神奇 lor. You do some simple Google search, and then Facebook keep feeding you with the relevant post or advertisement. Okay, so this is another example, but on a business level, 瞒天过海. Right, for the uninitiated one, you are just doing a normal Facebook feed, reading. Okay, and then you find that there's a trend. You're seeing what you want to see. Okay, so 瞒天过海. Prevention. Okay, prevention. How can you prevent yourself being a victim of 瞒天过海? That means people want to bluff you, and things like that. Using 瞒天过海. So how could you prevent that from you being a victim? Number one, adjust your depth of view of all situations. We covered that in AOM1. Okay, I started out AOM1, this trilogy series with AOM1, and in the very first module or the second module, I keep on emphasizing we need to know how to adjust our depth of view. Remember I show you the horizon. Okay, the horizon, and I say it looks like a straight line from far, but when you go near enough, it is quite curvy. So looks good from far, but far from good. So whatever they are showing you the normality, no matter who, right? So learn to pick up telltale sign to say that there could be something going on beneath. Or if they're showing you the exception, then it's very clear cut lah. Normally they don't do that, but suddenly they start to do certain things that is out of your expectation. Then you know something could be wrong. Okay, so that is clear cut. But I'm talking about the normality part, right? So whatever you see are observable. Again, this is what we learned in AOM1. Whatever you get to see is observable, and that are those parts that people want you to see. Okay, so we must also learn how to pick up those unobservable. So one quick way to remind yourself is whatever you're seeing, just remind yourself you are seeing it through the door peephole. There's only so much peripheral that you can see, right? But beyond that peripheral, there are some things that you may not see, but that doesn't mean that you don't see, means it's not there. Okay. So another way is to uh, uh, um, read their action. Okay, read their action and then relate to any specific stratagems, right? Then that will give you some clues, how you can prevent, how you can do counter. Okay, so any quick question on 瞒天过海? No, so if not, then I'll move on to the next stratagem. I think 瞒天过海 is pretty straightforward lah. You just bluff your way through in the guise of normality lah. Okay, next let's move on to stratagem 2, 围魏救赵. In lesson 1, I already show you a 典故. 典故 means a story, ancient story that shows probably how the inventor of this 围魏救赵 came out with this 围魏救赵 stratagem based on a hexagram. Okay, so let's move on to stratagem 2, besiege Wei to rescue Zhao, in Chinese called 围魏救赵. Here, I think I've shared with you before, the intention is, the intention of attacking Wei is not to take over Wei. The intention is to rescue Zhao. Okay, you do A to go for B. That's the whole purpose of stratagem 2, besiege Wei to rescue Zhao. So the verse says, loosely translated in English, it says, fighting a divided team is better than fighting a united team. So attacking the soft spot is better than going head on. Again, this is a good reminder for us to say stratagem is always telling us to hit the soft spot. If you can't find the soft spot, create a soft spot, right? How to create? You can look at all the 36 stratagem. For example, 无中生有, is one way to create a soft spot. Or you divide someone using 美人计, could be creating a soft spot. So basically, this is what it means, lah. Right? So if a united team, this is the brute force. If it's united, it's a brute force. If you divide them, it becomes the soft spot. Then you attack the soft spot. So this is called 围魏救赵. So where was it inspired from? It was inspired from 活水未济. Okay, 活水未济. Yeah. So I also, through experience, learned that 水火既济 can also inspire you to think about 围魏救赵. Okay, condition for this to be effective. If you want to attack A so as to rescue B, just remember these few conditions lah. Besieging Wei, that means attacking the A, is just a mean. It must be something the enemy treasures or hold dear. So if you attack A, and A is not something that your opponent treasures or hold dear, it won't work. It's just like 美人计. People like to play golf, but you want to play chess with him, it doesn't match. It is not something that the opponent wants, like, love, or greed for, Therefore, if they want to play chess, they'll tell you no, no, not free. Okay. So same thing. If you want to attack way, make sure that this way is something that the opponent treasures or hold dear. So your choice of way is important. Yeah. That's condition number one. Number two, you do that, you be such way, the intention, the main intention is to rescue Zhao. Don't change your intention. If you change your intention, you may need to relook at this stratagem and see whether it is still relevant or not. Right? So remember in lesson one, I say, whichever stratagem that you want to come up with, you must first know what is your intention. What is it that you want to achieve by selecting a stratagem? Okay. Next, third condition is you must find the right one, weakest link of the chain to attack. Now, if let's say you want to rescue Zhao, and you find that you need to be such way, and Wei happen to be not the weakest link, but actually is a very strong link, then you are actually going against the maneuvering principle of not attacking the brute force. Remember that, huh? So if you want to attack Wei, make sure Wei is one of the weakest link, right? At least relatively weaker to you, right? To attack. Last condition, this will force the strong enemy to retreat in order to support his weakness. Okay, so basically these are the four conditions. If you want to execute this 围魏救赵 to perfection, just remember, comply. Have a checklist, say, okay, check, 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 check. Okay, then go ahead and use this stratagem. Can you think of any examples? I give you examples. Number one, distract a powerful force that's threatening you by causing a greater problems for it elsewhere. Right? Particularly by attacking those places it holds most dear. Okay, so this is one way of using 围魏救赵. I repeat, distract a powerful force that is threatening you by causing a greater problems for it elsewhere. Okay, particularly by attacking those places it holds most dear. So China right now has a what do you call that? A place that it holds dear. Do you all know where? Do you all know where? A country? Can I call it a country? A province that it holds so dear? Pepe say Taiwan, Paul say Taiwan. Thank you very much. All right. So for example, if you really if anybody want to attack China, or go against China or whatever, you just stir the water in Taiwan. Okay, stir the water in Taiwan, and then China, will come back. Okay, that's number one. Number two, hit the Achilles heel. It's Achilles heel, right? Achilles heel means Achilles is a very powerful warrior. I can't remember which country was that he's from, but anyway, Achilles was so powerful that all his enemy feared him. But he was ultimately taken out by someone who knows his weakest link. Okay, his weakest link is his heel. His heel is the weakest part of his entire body. Okay, so same thing here. I'm using this Achilles heel to tell you when you hit someone, always find the weakest spot, that is the soft spot, and then hit there. Okay, last, change subject, dodge the question, reply with empty answers, or reply with question is also another examples of 围魏救赵. I'll show you one example later on. That one is on a personal level scenario. Okay, I'll show you that later on. Okay, so if you have other variations, type in the chat box. Yeah. Okay. Now here, this example on a political level. Let me read out the caption. U.S. President Donald Trump. This was in 2019. Was it? Oh no, 2020. Okay, 2020. Yeah. U.S. President Donald Trump doubled down on calling COVID the Chinese virus when journalists asked him about concern that the use of term is creating racial tension in America. Why do you think he said what he said? Okay, why do you think he said what he said? Back then in 2020, if you can recall, when COVID just outbreak that time, everybody scramble. Okay, everybody scramble. Everybody busy locking down the country, right? Okay. Alan mentioned so that he's not blamed on anything wrong. Okay, very good, very good. So this is actually, I think, was his intention back then. Why he pointed the finger at China, right? So let me give some backstory. Back then, 2020, when countries all over the world was busy scrambling to lock down their countries. Okay, US, did not lock down. Okay, so yet US has the highest number of COVID cases, right? And it go like wildfire like that until become a monster. They can't stop, okay, or they can't slow down. So the pressure was on him as a president who did not order for a lockdown, who said that COVID will go away like magic, magically like that. So belittle the magnitude of this COVID outbreak. So in his backyard, the fire is brewing very, very big. Okay, so in order to put down this fire or in order to divert the attention on his backyard, he has to point his finger, which I believe so, at someone else. So in this case, he called it the Chinese virus so that people's perception will be redirected to target at China and then ease off the pressure on him. Okay, especially the racial tension and the COVID, the way the US handled the COVID. Okay, so Pepe said to reduce pressure on the escalating COVID case in his country during the early COVID days when cases are soaring. Thank you. That's right. That was what I think lah, because he won't officially say why I do what I do, So we have to read behind the scene and look out for the unobservable. Also, Alan, thank you. Pepe, thank you for your inputs. Indeed, this is true. So this is a very classic examples of 围魏救赵, or attack who? Attack Chinese, okay, the China, call it the Chinese virus, so as to rescue or relieve the pressure on his backyard. Okay, next. Okay, so this is on a personal level. Alice's son, I like to use this name, Alice. Alice's son did not complete his school assignment. So Alice say, why didn't you do it? Usually mother will do that. Why you didn't complete your school assignment? So her son probably learned stratagems, use this stratagem called 围魏助赵. Her son responded, 哥哥 咯, kept pestering me to play with him. Can you see why he said that? All right. So tell me, type in the chat box. When her son responded, 哥哥 咯, keep pestering me to play with him, who is his son attacking? Type in the chat box. Who is his son attacking and who is he trying to rescue? Pepe say, Message Koko, rescue Titi. That's right. So this is a redirection. It's not my fault. If you want to really find the culprit, look for Koko. He asked me to play one. Okay, so this is even at young age, all walks of life, at any level of your life ages, people use stratagems, and the one simple stratagem is called the redirection, called 围魏救赵, right? Okay, Ken. All right. So, any questions so far on this stratagem, stratagem 2, 围魏救赵? Can you think of one example? Just quickly think of one example, 围魏救赵. Be it personal level, business level, national level, international level. I'll give you 1 minute. Think of it. The most recent one that you can think of. Okay. Now, just now, Pepe was asking about how to counter reply question with another question. So right here, we said that, one of the variation of using 围魏助赵 could be using, like, for example, change subject. So the 哥哥 law, that one is change subject or redirection, or dodge the question. So in the form of dodging question, the son also use the redirection, say 哥哥 law, change, okay? Or reply with empty answer, okay? And reply with questions. How many of you have experienced before that you ask a question, the other side reply with another question? How many of you have this experience before? Just say yes or me in the chat box. Anyone? That you ask a question hoping to get an answer, but the other party reply with a question. Now, for me, okay, for me, right, I tend to reply question with question, especially during coaching. Now, why do you think I do that? During coaching time, live coaching time, I always reply. I mean, client will ask me question. I will always reply. Most of the time, not always lah. Most of the time, I'll reply question with question. Why do you think I do that? Why do you think I do that? Or would there be any occasion whereby you also have responded question with questions? And if so, why do you do that? Alan said, number one, more in control. Very good. Number two, the answer more solid if answer from the asker, cause asker knows the decision better or the situation better. Very good. Now, the one who asks questions, like what Alan said, control the game. Okay, let me repeat this. The one who asks question controls the game. Okay, so the one answering question usually is the 被动. In Chinese called 被动. That's why lawyer in the court, lawyer ask question. Lawyer never answer question. Lawyer ask question. Judge also ask question. Teacher also ask question. Coach also ask question. Okay, so we are actually controlling the pace of that situation or of that conversation, right? So if you want to take back the control, you may want to reply question with question, but of course don't do it too often because in the end people may not want to talk to you at all. 浪费时间 you know. But for coaching, it's different. Huh? Pepe say to encourage students to think the answer themselves, better learning for students, remember longer. Thank you very much, Pepe, for helping me to answer why I most of the time I answer question with question. Now I have few purposes why I do that. Number one, like what Alan and Pepe say, I'll encourage the client to think through the answer themselves because a lot of time they already have the answer, but it been subsided or been uh, what do you call that, hidden and not coming out that easily. All right. So that's number one. Number two, I'm helping them to also do a 1 degree shift. Sometimes asking them back, suddenly they like being thrown into the face. It's like, oh, wake up. And then suddenly the thinking shifted a bit. That 1 degree shifted a bit and say, oh, perhaps I can do this also. Oh, perhaps I didn't consider that. You know, a 1 degree shift, suddenly answer all come out. Okay. Third one, why I reply question with question is because sometimes I don't get the question. Okay, because the client put it in a way that I can't understand. So therefore, in order to continue this conversation, I paraphrase and ask him back. Do you mean this? Okay, so that I get a clearer picture, and he get a clearer picture also. And if let's say my understanding is wrong, you have to correct me. Then I will know how to come in to offer guidance. Okay, so that is why I always most of the time respond question with question. Okay, so now back to Pepe question is how do you counter question with question, right? Now let me throw this question to the class. How would you uh, how would you reply, counter a question with question? How would you counter a question with question? Let me throw this back to the class. Anyone? Think a bit deeper. Okay, so let's do some practicing now. Paul say do it with another counter question. Yes, there's one way. So 来来去去 is question, reply a question, reply a question, reply a question. Okay, can you can do that huh? Okay, so you can always reply back with another question. You can do that. Thank you very much, Paul. Alan said, answer my question first so that I can proceed next. Okay, another good way, answer my question first so that I can proceed next. Right? So very good. There's another way. Okay, and any other alternatives? So Pepe, you may want to write down countermeasures to question with questions. Number one by Paul, do it with another counter question. Second one by Alan, answer my question first so that I can proceed next. Any more? No more? Okay, so this is my, Alan said, explain to the asker that we need to solve each question separately. Don't mix up all. Okay, very good. So the third one from Alan is also to explain to the asker that we need to solve each question separately. Don't mix up all. Very good. Very good. So, would it be useful if let's say there is some recommended or suggested power phrase for you all to use for this kind of situation? Would that be useful to you? What do you all think? Power phrase, that means a canned messages. Okay, let me share with you what I would normally, how I would normally reply. I normally reply with certain power phrases that I have up in my sleeve. Oh, Alan says, sure, can cut the crap. Haha. Yeah, that's right. Because sometimes it's not easy, especially for those who did not learn persuading and try to learn persuading, you know. And sometimes the word just doesn't come out. Okay, that doesn't come out that fluently. right? So I will have a lot of power phrases up in my sleeve, and depending on situation, I may just pull out this one and say, okay, I'll just say this out to you. But you need practice lah. Okay, so usually question with question, right? My counter, I usually will say this way, power phrase, is that we can deal with that later. But now let us deal with this first. Or very similar to Alan's one, say answer my question first so that I can proceed next. Very similar. But I'm using power phrase, say that I'm not putting you down. Okay. We can deal with that later. But now let's deal with this first. Okay, so I'm opening up. I'm not saying that I shut you down and say, please stick back to this. Okay, so I'm saying that we'll do that later, right? But after that, they'll tend to forget one. Okay, so like that. This is my power phrase. There are many more power phrases for different situations. All right. So yeah, along the way, if there are some examples like this, I will share with you power phrases. How do you find this power phrase? Type in the chat box. How do you find this type of power phrase? I call this power phrase. So Pepe, is that okay? Is that enough countermeasures for your question with question? Aaron say very good. Okay, thank you. Yin Yang way. That's right. That's right. Okay, power phrase work best in the Yin Yang language, in the Yin Yang manner. Okay. So any questions so far? If not, let's move on to stratagem 3. Stratagem 3 is killed with a borrowed knife, in Chinese called 借刀杀人, and I think the terms is easily understandable, self-explanatory. It's really borrowed the knife to kill someone. But like I say, our intention is not to kill someone, is to get certain things done. Basically, that's what it means. Pepe say, good for the asker to be acknowledged and yet not pushing and avoiding the question. Yes, in a way, it's yin yang manner, so that you won't be the other party won't get offended lah, in a way. Won't get offended lah, because we phrase it in such a way that the priority now is actually to deal with this first lah. Yours, we will talk about it, but we will talk about it. Yeah, something like that. Okay, let's move on to this stratagem 3. 借刀杀人. The verse says, loosely translated in English, when your enemy situation is clear and your ally stance is uncertain, entice your ally to destroy your enemy, thus preserving your strength. Okay, so there are few keywords here. Your enemy situation is clear. Your ally is uncertain. Okay, so in that case, then you entice your ally to destroy your enemy, and then you preserve your strength. Okay, so keyword is preserve your strength yet achieving your objective. So it is called 借刀杀人. Here in the wordings in red is 以损推演. Okay, so the hexagram inspired from is 损卦. Okay, 损卦. So let's take a look at 损卦. Hexagram 41. Now, when you have 41, 42 is just next door. 三折损，风雷翼. 41, 42, you can consider 借刀杀人. Name one example of 借刀杀人 that you know of. Examples, real life examples. Everybody want to try? Think of one example of 借刀杀人 because it's so common. 借刀杀人. Now, in a company, when there is something to be announced to the world, to the press, to the public, who will do the job in a company setting? Is it the line manager? Let's say McDonald, one of the outlet, something happened there. Do you think the line manager will come out to say something to the press? I don't think so, right? They'll go through someone else, right? A proper person or a appointment in the company, the spokesperson in the company. Okay. So basically, in this case here, we are also using 借刀杀人. I mean, whatever happened in the outlet, although I'm the line manager, I am borrowing the company's comms or PR to do the announcement, okay, or to handle the press. This is one example of 借刀杀人. Alan said, America visit Taiwan to stir China softly. Very good. Thank you very much. Very good. So America uses Taiwan to stir China softly. Okay, very good. So how America stir Russia? How America stir Russia? NATO, okay, NATO and Ukraine. Okay, so now where is America stirring also? Do you know the latest? Where is America stirring? They have stirred China, they have stirred Russia. Do you know which other part of the world they are stirring right now? Okay, for you to check. Thank you, Paul. Wow, you are up to date, Paul. You're really up to date. Yes, the Saudi Arabia part. Okay, the Saudi Arabia part. Iran, Iraq, all those. Okay, so very good. So I think you all know what is meaning of 借刀杀人, the intention of it. So I give you some variations. Number one, surrogation. Surrogation, like for example, borrowed a female to bear the child and to give birth to a child and then become their child. Okay, so surrogation. Instigation, same thing. Instigate, it's just like you're not doing yourself, but you actually chok people to do it. So it's called instigation. It's also an example of 借刀杀人. Hitman or assassin, all these are examples of 借刀杀人. That means you don't go and kill someone yourself, but you go and hire a hitman or assassin, gangsters, to do it lah. Okay. Crowdfunding, you want to set up a startup, but you don't have funds, so you do crowdfunding. Okay, or you want to do donation, you borrow other people's money. Crowdfunding is something similar to borrowing other people's money. Okay, so public listing is also same thing. Okay, you get investor to come in, so you borrow their funds to grow your business by going public listing. Okay, so celebrity endorsement or influencer, same thing. You're borrowing their 名气, okay, their 名气, their popularity, their influential network, to promote your product. Okay, so Alan said Rosna get wealth and status through his husband power. Very good. Look at her bag, her shoes, everything else. Yes, thank you very much, Alan. Okay, so Rosna get wealth and status through his husband's power. Okay, so these are examples. Leveraging. Okay, leveraging is also another example of 借刀杀人. So can you cite some more examples of 借刀杀人? It's not yours, but you want to get certain thing done. You don't have the resources, you borrow the resources. Have examples? If not, never mind. Okay, we'll move on. If you can think of any, type in the chat box. Now, condition for this to be effective, 借刀杀人, to be effective, this can only be used by the superior side. Most of the time, this is used by the superior side. Okay, because if you borrow, okay, you want to borrow resources, you want to borrow money, you want to borrow people, you want to borrow manpower. If you're nobody, I think most people would not want to lend you, right? But if you have something that they look up to, they might want to lend it to you. Okay. But I put an asterisk there. I'm saying this as a normality, but there are exceptions. Exception is sometimes it also works for David versus Goliath situation. They mean a very small fries, a very small ant fighting the biggest elephant there is in the world. Okay, so in this case, it's like David versus Goliath situation. Yes, then this 借刀杀人 might work. So you have to go for the extreme. One is you are on the superior side. then most likely when you open mouth, people will want to come forward to lend you, okay, or to be at your disposal. That's one extreme. The other extreme is you are the smallest figure and you're going up against the biggest person. Okay, so this is called David versus Goliath situation, and this 借刀杀人 might work. Next, another condition is you must choose the right knife. Same as beauty trap, same as the 围魏救赵, you must choose the right beauty. You must choose the right way to attack. In this case, you must choose the right knife to use. 借刀杀人, just beware if you did not use it carefully, you might have backlash. Okay, it might backlash, that means it might just hurt you back if you are not using it carefully. Alan say company uses bigger company as guarantor to get loan approval. Thank you very much. This is one good example. Yes, you can't borrow that much fund. So you have to use a guarantor. And the one good way to use a guarantor is to use another bigger company to help you become a guarantor to get more loans. Okay, so very good. Thank you, Alan, for sharing this. Yes. 借刀杀人. Next, how to borrow the knife. Let's talk about how. Okay, how? There are four possible ways that you can borrow the knife. I'm sharing this with you. Number one, openly borrow. Okay, openly borrow. That means you can borrow what? You can borrow resources. You can borrow manpower. You know, I think last time, many years back, I was doing projects in my company. And I was all alone doing projects. So, projects, you can't do it all alone. So, what I do, because my department headcount, there's no more headcount for what do you call that? To recruit staff. Then what should I do? I 借刀杀人 All right, so let me throw this question to you. If only one person, I have to do this project, only one person, because then there's no budget to recruit more people under me. If I want to use 借刀杀人, how do I use it? Let me throw this to the floor here. How do I use 借刀杀人 to carry out my project? I'm a project manager. Alan say in English, we call it leverage. Very good. Very good. So how do I leverage? Paul said shared profit, allow borrowed staff to learn from project to charge timesheet. Very good. Very good. So I borrow staff from other department. Pepe say make it a partnership with another department under your same big boss. Very good. Very good. Okay, so back then I call it the cross functional team, comprising of whichever department that I need for this project. For example, I will have IT department, I'll have the users department to come in to send representative. So I form a cross functional team with the blessing from CEO. So I also I borrowed my CEO name to go and form this cross functional team, and I send the instruction out to all the department heads, say arising from CEO instruction to do this project, he has tasked me to form a cross-functional team, and therefore I need you to send one or two representatives to be part of this team. Okay, so thank you. I think you know what it means already. So 借刀杀人 if I don't have the resource, I borrow. Basically means I borrow, I leverage. Okay, that is openly borrow. Also, I use a double 借刀杀人. I borrow CEO one, then I go and borrow all the department stuff. Double 借刀杀人. Okay. Next one is covertly borrow. Covertly borrow means not in the open, but covertly under table, underground, whatever, sideway, flanking, all sort of things. But covertly borrow, I may, same thing. You can borrow resources. You can borrow, what do you call that? Manpower, borrow money, borrow anything else. Okay. Next, you can induce borrow. This is team. Okay, not everyone can do induce borrow. Induce borrow is neither open nor covert. Okay, neither open nor covert. It's like I say something, yet I don't say something, but for you to go and catch something, and then you do it yourself because you want to do it. Okay, so this is called induce borrowing, and a lot of time media is like that. Media is like that. You don't need to tell them what to do. You just lick out a little bit, they will know what to do because they want to do it. Media, especially when it's news-worthy piece of content, they will know what to do. Okay. In fact, if you want the whole world to know, you leak out a little bit, they will know what to do. So this is called induced borrowing. Last but not least, you can do a forceful borrowing. Okay, forceful borrowing mean you twist someone because you are in a superior position, so you have that power to twist someone. Say, I need you to do this. So when I borrow my CEO, what do you call that? Name to form this cross-functional team. In fact, I'm using a forceful borrowing. Okay, so I'm using CEO name to twist all the department head to say send one or two representatives in to this team. Okay, is that okay? Can you think of any other way you can borrow knife? Now let's talk about induced borrowing, because I think induced borrowing is something that is so powerful, yet not many people know about it or know what to do about it. Okay, but it's so powerful. But if you use it carelessly, it may just backlash on you lah. So let me share with you one example, real life example. You know, in the entertainment industry in US, Hollywood, this who is this guy? I can't remember. Harvey Weinstein is the Goliath in the entertainment or movie industry in the Hollywood, so-called untouchable lah. Okay, untouchable. Now what happened is he groomed a lot of well-known actresses, shoot them to fame. Okay, that is on the outside, observable. But the unobservable part behind the scene, he has a backstory lah. That means he back end forced the actresses, the budding actresses, to go to bed with him. All right. So in this case, um, who's David? Who's Goliath? Okay, I think obviously Goliath is this guy here, Harvey Weinstein, right? Who is David? Are those budding actresses? Okay, budding actresses. Now, budding actresses, when they come out, there are many occasions whereby budding actresses who did not want to have this kind of dealing with him came out openly to go against him, but was put out lah, either blacklisted in the Hollywood or being put out totally lah. Okay, so one way, for example, this case here, I think there's an example. This is a very good example of induced borrowing, whereby media was involved. Media get wind of this incident, okay, and then blew it up. And then once it blew it up, it became a monster that he can't even control and manage or pin it down. Okay, so in that case, what type of knife is this? This is called the induced borrowing. Okay, induced borrow, and it's using the media, because once you leak a little bit to them, they will do what you want them to do because they want to do it. Basically, as easy as that. Let me give you some critical information about this case here. It happened in started from 2017. The New York Times publishes a story detailing decades of allegation. Decades, So this has been ongoing for decades, but nobody came forward, or perhaps somebody came forward but was put down. So New York Times was the media, okay, publishes a story detailing, or not on surface, but detailing decades of allegation of sexual harassment against Harvey Weinstein. Actresses Rose McGowan and Ashley Judd are among the women who come forward. So most likely these two were the one who leaked 爆料 leak information to the press. So, and the press took it up and then did what they want to do. Okay, and that brought this untouchable, this Goliath down to his knees in the jail. Okay. Okay, other examples. Right. So, for example, this back in 2020, SDP also used a topic. Okay, use a topic to try to attack the ruling party. And the topic is 10 million population claim. Remember that back in 2020, SDP used this topic as a rally topic, but was put down. Okay, so SDP was also trying borrowing this topic of 10 million population claim to kill, so-called kill the ruling party. Now, the thing is, people can use borrow the knife to kill someone, borrow a knife to kill someone, 借刀杀人. The thing is, how can you prevent yourself being the knife? You know, how can yourself not to be the victim as the knife or someone else's knife? So just be careful this because sometimes you may be a unknowing knife, unknowing victim, maybe being a knife for someone else, and you do it because you want to do it. Okay, so one way is to 防人之心不可无. When people ask you to, hey, just do this lah, hey, why don't you try that lah, why don't you do that lah? You know, there's a lot of things you can benefit from this thing. Sometimes they tell you to do certain things because they want you to do the certain thing that they want it. Okay, so best way according to I Ching is 防人之心不可无. That means if you want to believe him, first thing first, you must choose not to believe first. Okay, until you clear all the doubts, then you know when he points to say that, hey, all the doubts are cleared. I think you can believe him. Then you start to believe him. Question so far? Okay, now countermeasures. If you feel that someone is using 借刀杀人 up against you, using 借刀杀人, how could you counter? There are two ways that I know of. There could be more, right? Number one is if you know who's the mastermind, expose the mastermind. Okay, expose the mastermind. That's number one. Number two, using a 反间计. That means you know who's the mastermind, you know who's the knife. You can use the knife to go back against the mastermind. So this is called 反间计, a reverse agent. And how do you do that? Sometimes you may want to leak information. Okay, you may want to leak information that go against the mastermind. So it could be to sow discord or to give a wrong news, a wrong information, or wrong critical information, for example. Okay, so as a countermeasure. Can you think of any other? Okay, so you see, for example, just now we talk about SDP borrow the knife of 10 million population. So the ruling party also came out to expose to say, oh, SDP erected a boogeyman over 10 million population claim, then declare success. So they also did a counter. Okay, they also did. And in GE, usually they will have counter and no, they will come out with stratagem. Then you can see counter measures as well. So I think it's pretty fun to observe GE because everyone will come up with all sort of patterns. This is the best time to learn AOM3, right? Question so far? Okay, so if there's no question, shall we take a short break here? Let me go to my timer. Where's my timer? Okay, timer is here. Okay, let me go to my timer. Then we take a short break here, 10 minutes break. And then after that, we'll resume with the class. All right, so if you have question, type in the chat box. We'll talk about that after the break, yeah? So I'll start a timer now. See you back in 10 minutes time.